I'm going to try to make some hearty chicken noodle soup today and kind of show you my version of that. So first off, just wanted to get started and say making more of a hearty, not as thin, but just seeing where I can take this dish. So this is just my version of it. So first off, I want to start by opening up, my chicken broth and get that in there and just kind of pour in two of those. And if you like using the bouillon cubes or a different brand, that's perfectly fine. Personally, I may be using Swanson today, but I often prefer to use the Kitchen Essentials because it has no MSG. It's just a real clean, light chicken broth, but this will do. So today I've got everything already pre-measured out, ready to go. So I turned it all the way up to high, just get that kind of going and get it going pretty good. Now the first thing I like to add when I'm making a soup is my fresh herbs and then any vegetables that'll take a little bit longer to cook. So here, this is actually a little bit of diced carrot greens, and that's just going to break up real nicely. And I like carrot greens because they're kind of a mixture in flavor between kind of a parsley and a carrot. So it's a real light flavor, but it'll add quite a bit to your soup. There's a couple little brown leaves in there. I might try to fish those out. They're nothing bad. It's just, when you grow your own plants, sometimes you forget to water them a little bit and you end up with a couple brown leaves. But it's no big deal. It's nothing that's going to hurt me. It's much better than anything that would be at a store. So here I have some chopped cilantro. And cilantro really adds a different zing to it. And these are already kind of prefab. Get a nice little cube in there, and that'll melt. And those are great because you can kind of add them to anything and just get a little bit different flavor. They store really well in the freezer. Get these back in the freezer real quick. Keep them right there at the front. So I've got just kind of metal soup spoon. I'm trying to kind of speed this along. I won't show the entire cooking process, but so the next thing I'm going to add is I have a little cup of carrots. They take a little bit longer to cook, so I thought I'd add them next. So you can see that's going to steep for a little while. And at this point, you can add whatever other seasonings you want. Personally, I like to add a little bit of lemon juice. I feel like it gives it a little bit of zing, and you don't want too much because you don't want your soup tasting sour, but a nice little zing helps, and helps kind of balance everything else that I'm putting in there. So I've got some pepper vinegar. They're just basically Tabasco peppers suspended in vinegar. Got a few drops of that, and the vinegar gets a nice flavor and heat of the Tabasco peppers. You'll be able to tell pretty quickly I like things with a little bit of heat to them. That's just cayenne pepper. A little dash of that. A little dash will do you. This just crushed red pepper. Get a couple little sprinkles of that. Good on pizza too. Most of you probably already do that. A little bit of paprika. That is a little bit of a milder flavor. It just gets a little different composition to it. A lot of people like to use the smoked paprika. That you probably want to use a little bit less of that, because that can get a little bit overwhelming quick. And then of course I'm going to add, household staples like, onion powder. Personally, I don't cook with onions. You'll probably gather that the more videos I do. If you wanted to chop up some onions, this would be the time to do it and add those. Kind of cook those down and get the flavor into the broth. And really just dressing up the broth at this point, because if I had the time, I would cook up a whole chicken and boil that down. This right here is just a little bit of garlic salt that I just added. Kind of add a little bit to it. Now, what I'm adding next is a little bit of dried oregano. Most of the time your dried oregano is a little more than sawdust, really. It has no flavor, no smell, and it's just kind of awful. So you can get the fresh oregano. The oregano I got is pretty good. You can see it has some nice little flakes to it. Pretty good smell. It'll add a lot of aroma to the soup if it's good stuff. The oregano I got it at a Mennonite store, which doesn't technically mean anything, but sometimes you'll get a little bit better ingredients at a store where you know the stuff is fresh and they do it themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this boil for a little while, and bring it to a boil, and once I've got it boiling, I'll kind of update you on what I'm gonna do next.